Welcome to a new update. In today's update we will be talking about altcoins because right now might be the actual time to invest in altcoins. And yes, some have been doing absolutely amazing, but you should realize that some of them are still waiting for their breakouts because Ethereum has still been correcting downwards in their BTC value. Chainlink has been doing really great but has been dropping a lot in the BTC value. So in this update, I'll be giving you an overview of the altcoins and why during this period we might be seeing some substantial breakouts across the board. And I'll also be discussing Chainlink, which has been correcting, to give you an example of where the altcoins might be going to, because Chainlink is currently trying to break new highs and it has been breaking out of its range and it has been doing really fine. Now, what we're looking at here is also the case that the altcoins are starting their bull cycle, which is great. This video is sponsored by our partner Bitfavo, which I'm using for my swing trade investments on altcoins, which I'm doing through them because I want to deviate from my trading expertise or day trading activities on Bybit to make sure that I'm not making many mistakes between the wallets, and I'm doing that on different exchanges. Bitfavo is my go-to place because they have more than 200 altcoins and I can easily transfer my money from the bank towards crypto. And additionally, Bitfavo is accepted in multiple European countries, regarding France, regarding Germany, Austria, they got the license, and it's a super easy to use exchange. And now if you sign up through my affiliate, you get 10 euros free if you deposit 10 euros. And I think everybody should start with Bitfavo as it's one of the easiest exchanges to use. Now, when we're talking about the markets, first of all, a small recap on Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is currently in a stage where it's running up substantially. And I've discussed in a video yesterday that we might be seeing a case of a potential top coming in. So given the fact that we have such a large amount of hype going into the spot Bitcoin ETF, it is going to be reaching anywhere around 48k most likely, as that is the area of Fibonacci that is going to be a final resistance zone. But we can also say that the hype is getting away there, so the money flow cycle of altcoins can start, which means that Bitcoin is breaking through crucial levels. Then it has its first run. The volatility has been going away, or has been there for now. The volatility is going to go away, which means that money can go towards altcoins, and that can start with Ether, as Ether is also getting a spot ETH ETF, probably being approved somewhere in 2024, which means that after Bitcoin, Ethereum can follow through. So at this stage, we are looking at a case that altcoins are going to do really well. And if you're looking for more information on how to invest into altcoins, my trading course is going to go live really soon. We're going to launch that in January. I've shot it all. So if you are interested into it, make sure to comment beneath. And also if you're looking for advice on your portfolio, to rebuild your portfolio, to build your portfolio, or assistance throughout the entire bull cycle, I'm going to assist you, as we have launched our consultancy, which is there for you to build your portfolio. So with Bitcoin, we are looking at a case that we are finalizing the entire run. We are looking for a potential correction afterwards, and we are seeing a case that potentially Ethereum is going to follow suit. So what do we see here? Bitcoin is already at this region, right? And Ethereum is pretty much building up, which means that we are making higher lows on the higher time frames and breaking through resistance zones, through which even if we get a correction because Bitcoin corrects, there is continuation going to happen towards the resistances at 3k plus or 3.5k, which means that in that aspect, we are most likely looking at a resistance zone somewhere here, but we're also looking at a case where Bitcoin runs first and then Ether follows through, and then the other altcoins are going to do that as well, because we are starting the altcoin bull cycle. The reasoning for that is that the Bitcoin dominance chart is most likely peaking out. And as you look at this chart right now, you can see that every time, and also in 2015, 2016, this is the case, every time between 3 to 8 months before the actual halving takes place, Bitcoin starts to break through resistance zones and then altcoins start to fire up. And in this case, we can see that we're again seeing a peak coming in, which means that the peak is coming in and altcoins are going to, or at least the Bitcoin dominance is going to turn around. That is because sentiment is switching, but once it starts to turn around, it is most likely going to have a downwards continuation for at least a substantial period of time. This means that during this period, the Bitcoin dominance drops, altcoins start to rally, and altcoins will never come back to the prices that they have been in during the accumulation phase. So when we're going back towards Ether against Bitcoin, we can conclude, and I'll just erase a lot of these things here, we can conclude that we are having a case of downwards continuation on the price action of Ether against Bitcoin. But we are looking for a potential reversal here, which has been taking place just prior of the Bitcoin halving too. And now we are looking at a similar case just prior of the Bitcoin halving, as Ethereum is waking up, as Bitcoin finalizes its run. The most volatility and upside is gone there, so money starts to flow towards altcoins. That's when you want to get invested, and when Ethereum starts to move, the rest of the markets start to move as well. So in this case, we are still 3 to 6 months prior to the Bitcoin halving. We're seeing a retest of this entire zone taking place at 0.05 for Ethereum. And right now we potentially even see some bullish divergence appearing, and we can see that there is a bearish divergence on the Bitcoin dominance as well, and we can see that altcoins start to wake up massively. But now, what do you need to do? Well, if we're looking at Chainlink against USDT, we can see that there is some serious momentum, right? Chainlink has been in this sideways action for a long time, breaks out of the range, consolidates, probably corrects a little bit, and then has another push because we are in the middle of the bull cycle. And especially if we look at the case in 2019, 2020, we can see that we had substantial breakouts taking place already before the halving took place, because in this case, Chainlink ran from $1.60 to $5 just before the Bitcoin halving took place. Now we are running from 6 to 18, perhaps even towards $20, have a correction, and then another run towards the highs, which means that you need to see strength on Chainlink against Bitcoin. And during the past few weeks, we have seen a pretty heavy run on Chainlink against Bitcoin, but you need to realize that markets move in cycles. And this is something that I'm going to be discussing in my trading course, but you can see that the trend has shifted on the Bitcoin pair. And also in the previous cycle, this has been taking place, through which you need to figure out when you're going to reach a top on the altcoin against Bitcoin. That might be a good moment to swap from Bitcoin, from the altcoin towards Bitcoin. And when the altcoin is going to find itself into a higher time frame support, as we can see here with Chainlink against Bitcoin, that is a good moment to start allocating money back into the altcoin. And in this case, we are having that retest, and we are looking for new highs to take place, and we are having higher lows and higher highs. So you should realize that if there is momentum on the altcoins and that is happening through the Bitcoin pair, that is when you need to start allocating money into it. And by Chainlink, you can actually see that it's happening. By other altcoins, for instance, Arbitrum, that is making a massive bullish divergence, through which the indication is that we can start reversing the trend from here. You can see that on all those altcoins, Optimism the exact same, which is just having a consolidation after a big bounce upwards, another bullish divergence, and most likely finalizing its entire period of accumulation here and starts a new uptrend. So what you want to know is that Bitcoin is most likely finalizing its volatility, and altcoins can start run after that. So the coming 2 months are going to be massive, and I'll be discussing that in the coming updates, which will be longer, which will be about altcoins. Make sure to subscribe. See you again.